All right, so I wasn't gonna make a video on how to sew a mask because there's so many, I'm sure, out there. But I've tried 4 different patterns and just could not find one that worked for all of our family. So I decided, I kind of made my own pattern, and I'll post that down below, and just thought I'd show you how I do that. So start off with 2 pieces of fabric. I like to make mine double-sided. So I have 2 different colors, but what you're gonna do, just to start, you want to fold each one in half so that the right side is facing together on these. And the pattern, just want to make sure that that fits on your pattern. This is the pattern, what it looks like. And this long part is going to be where your fold is. So we're just going to make sure that you have enough room on your fold, and that one does. And then also something to note, if you're going to do a fabric that has a logo on it, if you look at the pattern, there's one side that's flat and then another one that's curved. And so this is going to be the top. So if you're going to do a logo, you want to make sure that your logo starts at the top. And then also pay attention to, this is where the fold line is. So if you have something that you want in the middle, centered in the middle, make sure you fold it on that middle line before you cut it. So we're just going to put these 2 on top of each other so that we can make just one cut. So match up your fold lines. And then you want the long side to be where your fold is. Just clip those together or pin them, whatever. And then we are just going to cut all the way around. Okay, so after you have that cut, you can see in the pattern there are 2 lines drawn where you're just gonna fold on those lines while the pattern is still on there. Then I just give it another little squeeze to make sure we're going to have a nice little line there, so when we sew we can see that line. So if we open it up, we can see we have kind of that little line there. So we're just going to stitch on those lines, but we're going to take them apart. Don't do them together. You just stitch right on that line. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now we have, you can see triangles. And what you want to do is just cut right on the other side of that line so that you can cut out that triangle, because it's just extra fabric. So we're just going to cut there. Okay, so we are going to now sew the 2 sides together, and we want to have the right sides facing each other. So line up the curves. And then all you're going to do is you're going to stitch these end pieces together. do the other side. Great, so do just a quick trim. And then we're going to flip it right side out here. Just a long string there. And then I just give it a little bit of a squeeze there just to kind of keep it even on each end. Okay, so for the next part, we are going to find the top, which the top is the more curved side. You can see on the bottom, it's a little more outward and this is a little more curved. So the curved side is our top. We're gonna do that one first. So then what I like to use is this double fold bias tape, and that's what we're gonna use to line it with. And we're gonna make this adjustable. So we want to start by making a really long strap to begin with. For my face, I can do 8 inches. My husband though needs 10. So I do them all 10, and that's the beauty of it being adjustable, is that then anybody can wear it because you can slide them through. So go to the 10-inch mark and then just kind of hold your finger there. And what you're gonna do is then open the tape, kind of keep it in, the same kind of area that you found that 10-inch mark in. So you're gonna open it all the way up, like so. So you can see that's open. So with your finger still in that 10-inch spot, that's where you're gonna go to your mask starts. So kind of line them up there. Make sure your edges are all even. And then I just tag it down until I can get started. I don't pin it all the way across, but you certainly can do that. So now what we're gonna do is we are going to stitch all the way along the edge of the mask. If you can see, there's like this first fold here. You wanna stitch on the inside of that fold as close to the edge of the mask as you can. I kind of tend to run, if you can see there, like here, the edge of my foot, I don't use that. I use like the middle of the foot to kind of guide my edge of my fabric on. And after I get started, just pull that pin, and then just as you go, kind of get the edges of the fabric lined up, just by pulling just a little bit. Don't stretch it, but just pull it taut. And then get that bias tape running right along the side of it. You just gotta keep doing that all the way to the end. Great, so at the end of the mask part, so what you're going to do is then trim this. Again, we're going to measure out that 10 inches on the other side. Start at the edge of the mask, go out 10 inches, and that's where we're going to snip it. Okay. All right, so now it looks like this. We have one side that's been attached to that tape. All we're gonna do now is it just flips over nice and neat on to the other side of the mask. So we're gonna start actually stitching out at the very end of here just to stitch our fold tape together. And again, you wanna stitch kind of as close to that open edge as possible to make sure we hit all the folds. this is what we have so far. Give it around that top part. Now we're gonna do the bottom. So the bottom we're gonna do similar, except we're not gonna make long strips, we're just gonna make tiny little ends. And so what you're gonna do is take your bias tape and you are gonna measure out only an inch from the side. So 1 inch out, and hold your finger there again like we did on the top. That's where we're gonna start it. Our inch. We're gonna go to the bottom. And again, open up your tape. And you're gonna line up the start right there. Get your fabric nice and lined up, all edges. Give it a pin. So just in the same manner, we are just going to stitch that tape all the way across the bottom part. Okay, so we're here at the end, and again, we're just going to measure out that 1 inch on the other side. So start at the end of the mask, measure in 1 inch, and we're going to snip it right there. Okay. Now what we're going to do is flip it over, and we're going to finish off that bias tape by just folding it over like that. Okay, for the next part, so we have these little 1 inch pieces on the end that we are just going to fold over and tack down, and it makes like a little loop right there. Okay, so after we do that, we are just going to stitch all the way across this edging, and then we're going to make sure we catch that loop in there. So now, I'm just gonna do some quick trims here. And what you're gonna do is probably the hardest part, I think, is like getting this threaded through that hole. For some reason, I have a hard time. So you're gonna take your long strap and you're just gonna poke it through that hole. See that? And it pulls through. And then you're gonna give that a knot. Okay, to the other side. And that's it. So you can see exactly how it goes on. So then over the ears, and then you just give this a nice little tug to tighten the straps. And then if you make it double-sided like mine, you can wear it either way, so one way or the other.